Greetings today on this Saturday, April 3rd, 2021, from the Source NY in Poughkeepsie, New York. I'm Dr. Stacey Lamar, working on a series for victims, people that have been victimized, mistreated, and are looking for or working on their healing process. It's a tough subject, and if it is too traumatic for you to work through on your own, then you certainly should be reaching out within your community to find the right resources that will help to serve your healing process. Whatever victimization you've gone through, unfortunately, I hope that in your community there is a professional there that you can connect with and get the tools and the resources to work through together. If you've been on this path for a while and you're a little bit more comfortable sharing your experiences or internalizing and processing your experiences, then perhaps this video is going to be a little bit helpful to you to continue on your own healing work. I'm a victim. I've been a victim since childhood, and many of us are. Probably most of us were. And I've even been a perpetrator, so I could never sit back and say that I've only been victimized and I've never mistreated somebody, because I have made my share of mistakes and I have to own those, as painful as that is. Today I want to use the Orosoma bottle number 55. 55 is the Christ bottle, and it is not by coincidence that I chose this bottle given it's Easter weekend. But it's not for religious purposes. It's really about the message within the bottle that helps me to share the story to the victim. Bottle 55 is called the Christ bottle. It's like a brilliant, bright red on bottom and clear on top. And I am wearing it today. And the reason I think this is a good beginning point in a victim series is because we're going back to our root. We're going back to our base chakra, to our tribe, and to where we were born. Take it from the beginning. So victims learn. We learn from our childhood, and we hope to have a family that are loving and supportive and teaching us to protect ourselves, but that's not always the case. So I recommend at this point, if you're new to the work that I do, is to find a journal, loose leaf paper with a folder, binder, whatever, marble notebook, and start journaling if you're not already working on your journaling process, and identify if you believe you are a victim, and I'm not saying you're not, but how were you victimized? Where in your world did the victim process begin? For me, it was in my tribe. It was in my birth. From the time I was born into a family that really wasn't prepared for parenting, the process began for me. So the tools did not develop for me to protect myself from the moment I took my first breath. It does not mean I did not have loving people around me, nor does it mean that my family, my parents did not try to do a good job. That's not what I'm suggesting. Unfortunately, the cycle of events and the parenting that they had, and you go back generations, right, the cycles continue, patterns continue, and anyone that's done any therapy and work on themselves knows that we can see how we're mimicking or maybe recreating patterns from our childhood with our own children, with our own relationships, things like that. So it's about, for victims, when we're really working on ourselves, I think wanting to heal ourselves, but we want to also work to break the cycle so we don't do it again to the next generation or the next relationship. Okay? And you don't want to carry that pain with you into any relationships, because then you're just not whole. You need to be a whole person and feel the love and feel the special that you are. And if you're holding on to a victim cloak, if you're still wearing this robe of victim and shame or pain or embarrassment or anger, then it's taking away the energy of healing yourself to make you the whole person that you really deserve to be. So for me, the road began at birth, where the challenges and the dysfunction and the abuse started. And I think it's a common thread for people that are victimized to be able to go back in time and see in childhood, in their tribe, in their root, in their own family, where the first event that made you feel unsafe occurred. It might take many years or decades before you can go back to that point and identify it, but more often than not, there is something that stems back from our past, from our early childhood days, where we were put in a situation that was not good for us. And we suffered, and you suffered. And I think the point I'm trying to make is that I want to try to help you to release the suffering and the embarrassment, the shame, or the anger, whatever those emotions are, so that you can be stronger and carry on, move forward, knowing that, yes, you were victimized, but it's okay to bring light into that shadow and shine and heal. The Christ story, whether or not you're Christian does not matter to me. The story as it is told is of this week of suffering that Christ went through to his ultimate death so that he could shine light on humanity and teach us a different way of thinking, a different way of looking at the world. This is not a religious message. I'm just taking the historical tones and saying that I want you to be able to understand where your suffering begins. Where did the suffering that you have experienced begin? Is it in your root? Is it in your tribe? Is it in your childhood? Is it within your community? Somebody in your safe network that made you feel unsafe? And if so, start the journaling process about that first experience that you can recall, how it makes you feel. And I know it's some tough emotions, but if you can get those emotions out, think about where the manifestations in your body are harboring. Are you nauseous? Does it give you anxiety, depression, whatever it may be? There's manifestations of your victim state that are happening in your physical being if you haven't been able to properly neutralize that energy. I don't want to make this message about me. It's about you, for sure. I just try to use some of my experience to help get the message through that you're not alone. In my book, Starseed, I go from the beginning, from my first breath and my first memories of where dysfunction and abuse began, and systematically took some highlights over the course of the decades of my life that really speak to how I repeated the pattern of victimization, but also learned bad habits and manipulated and mistreated people along the way too, because I wasn't recognizing that my early lessons were harmful. And I don't hold any negativity toward the people that victimized me. I think the hardest for me was to forgive myself for the pain I may have caused others. And needing to forgive myself is tough still. It took the reframing of why am I here? What is the purpose of me being born? To really help me to grasp a deeper understanding of those answers to those tough questions. And it took for me the ability to remove organized religion out of that dynamic and incorporate some psychology psychiatry, and faith-based beliefs that might not directly align with a specific religion, but might be more spiritual based and hybrid, if you will. But it's what feels right and what connects and correlates to me. So I do share some of that in the book, but it's not about trying to convince or coerce somebody to have the same belief system, because I do honestly believe there are infinite ways to the God source. And there are infinite ways to explain or describe and to heal. So it's what works for you is what's best. What worked for me is represented in the book, and I share that, but it's not because I'm trying to compel you to pick up that path. If it feels right, then that's great. If it doesn't feel right, then I want you to help find what feels right for you. So the red is my root chakra, my base chakra. And for the victim, take a hard look. Take time with this. Don't rush this process. And think about, where are your first memories of where things might have gone wrong and you started to feel vulnerable, or maybe were taken off a healthier path. Think about how that begins to make you feel when you bring up those emotions. And begin to think about, do you have the ability to let it go for the sake of your own growth, for your own peace and your own health and wellness? Because nobody deserves to hold on to the pain. That pain is there, that pain happened, but you deserve to be able to move forward from that pain and have a happy life, be able to put a smile on your face and feel like you are lovable. So many people don't feel that they're lovable, and that's just so sad. And I was one of them, and I still struggle with that. Every day is a different journey. When I get up and put my feet on the ground, and I just hope that I can do my best. It's with good intention. So this video is with good intention. This is with intention of trying to help you to recognize, where have you been victimized? Where did it begin? I'm not going to get through the whole process in one 10 or 15 minute video, but if we could start the steps for you, help you to get through it in a healthy manner moving forward, so that you can start to feel that you are lovable again and be able to attract and be part of healthy relationships, break the cycle if the cycle needs to be broken, then that's great. Then that is mission accomplished. On this April 3rd, 2021, Saturday, it's all about finding the pain within you, shining the light on it so that that shadow has to go away, because you are special and you are lovable. And I am too. Be back next week with the next message. God bless.